Hello, Augies Worldwide. I'm Dave Kassler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG, here with another episode of Ask Dave. This question comes today from Melinda Corley, KQ4JFE. And she asks what to do to program her radios. She's a new ham, older, and is enjoying this so far. So she's asking for recommendations on how to program her Yaesu FT65R. First of all, a good place to start is with your local club. And in where she lives, there should be local clubs in the area that may be in the next county or something. And Melinda, you may have to do a little bit of club shopping before you find the club that you really like. And there's nothing to say that you can't be a member of more than one club. Usually you'll find people there quite affable. As far as learning to use your Yaesu 65R, of course, start with the manual. Now, the problem with the manual is it's just a compendium of things of setting this, setting that. It doesn't tell you what to do or why. Now, what you're looking for is information on a local repeater or finding a repeater, finding the offset, and so on. First of all, your radio, being a Japanese radio, probably has the U.S. Band plan already programmed in for both 2 meters and 70 centimeters. So if you input a frequency on the front, it will say, oh, that's in the repeater band, and I'm going to do a positive or a negative offset depending on where in the band you are. This should be automatic. That's not so on the Chinese radios, by the way. So where you can find the repeater info, I'd just like to tell you a little bit about this. First, repeater offsets are 600 kilohertz on 2 meters and 5 megahertz on 70 centimeters. And you can find out what that is and program it in. Now, there are a couple different ways, and I frankly recommend programming your repeater using a computer rather than trying to do it from the front panel, because you can do it from the front panel. But you've got a whole bunch of numbers that you have to push, and you have to push them all correctly. You can't skip one or add one. You've got to do them all correctly. Whereas if you use programming software, it's easier. Now, it turns out there's a free version of Chirp, which will program your radio. Chirp is at chirp, like a bird chirps. I guess these days a bird goes X, but we'll pretend the bird still chirps. And go to chirp.danplanet.com and you'll be able to download Chirp. Be very, very careful of what you touch to download. If it's in the middle of what looks like an advertisement or it's in big print, it's the wrong thing to push. Those ads are trying to get you to download other things. I don't know why they allow those ads on there, because it's a real distraction. But the actual one you will download will be in text, and it will highlight it for you, what you need to download for Windows, or if you're doing it for Apple. Now that brings us to the question of a programming cable. Most Chinese radios come with a programming cable. This goes into the computer, this plugs into the radio. This is a standard, what is called a Kenwood style programming, which most, not all, most Chinese radios use. But we're talking Japanese here. And the Japanese radio manufacturers, all of them, want to charge you for the programming cable. The Chinese cable is the wrong cable for that radio. You need the cable that's made for the various Yaesu radios that are in that particular batch of radios. So I'm going to show you where you can find this on the internet, and we're going to use DX Engineering as our we're going to use DX Engineering as our supplier of choice. Let's take a look at the internet. If we look in DX Engineering at your radio, this is it here, the ASU FT65R, which is a dual band radio. It has a charger right here that it can use. And it is a nice looking little radio. I mean, it's a 5-watt radio, which is good. It's got some programmable feature buttons, which are nice. And then you can get into various menus and so on. It has multiple buttons on the side, which are used for various things. This is your push to talk button right here. Over here is a cover, and I think it's one of these other infants right here, is speaker mic, and this is the so-called Kenwood style speaker and microphone adapter, which is fairly standard these days. Most of the Chinese radios come with this too. And it has the single charger, and the charger right here outputs 12 volts at 1 amp, which is what's up here. Okay, use this charger. Don't use a different charger. So mark it. Put a tag on it or get some tape and print on it that this goes with the FT65. You can order chargers by themselves if for some reason you lose that. Okay, so we're going to go back to this. And now let's find out about the programming software. If we go down to here, suggested parts, we get the RT Systems ADMS65 USB. Okay, and this is the software for programming your radio. Okay, now note the little plug down here. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4 connections on it. It is different from the Chinese programming cables, so you have to use this programming cable. Now, the Japanese manufacturers charge for their programming cables. This is a combination for the RT Systems radio programming software and the cable. So you get the software and the cable. The programming software is very good. I'm going to show you what Dan Planet looks like, the chirp, just so you can get an idea kind of what goes in, because they're all the same. You'll note here there's a screen that has all the frequencies you can program for, and then a screen here that has all the settings. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch to the other radio right here. Okay, we talked about the radio. Okay, we talked about the software, and now I'm going to show you, this is software that happens to be for a different radio, but this will give you the same kinds of things that you might be looking for. COM port select, we'll take COM 7 because that's the one that we set up. Okay, settings. Let's see, program, read. Oh, shoot. It's not going to read if we don't have the battery on it. And the radio turned on. Okay, it's reading from the radio. Okay. Okay, it succeeded. And we now have everything that was in the radio. Now, let's see if I can make this. Okay, so there's two major things in the software. One is the channel list. On this particular radio, it's asking you the receiver frequency and the transmit frequency. The frequency of the repeater that people tell you is the receive frequency. And then you have to add or subtract the offset to get this over here. Now, decode, encode, scramble, you leave off. Power, you've got a choice of high, medium, or low on this particular radio. This is, I don't know what B-lock is. It's a Chinese thing. The step is that each step, when you turn the channel on it, wide is what you want. There's two versions of FM, wide, mid, narrow, wide, narrow. We want wide. Okay. Now, the decode and encode, these are your frequencies, your tone frequencies. All right. There's a lot of different kinds. This will come from the repeater book I'm going to show you, where you can get this information. Okay. Now, you can put a channel name in here if you want. George, we'll call it George. There are more things for this channel. You've got everything right here in one place. Okay. So, if you enter that, you're done. Now, in addition to the channel, it's got the VFOs, what they are normally. Your basic information, like the display mode, we're going to put channel, no name, we're going to put name in there, okay? And you can change around, do you want an LED mode? Do you want your light to stay on for some period of time, and so on? All of these are explained in the book, okay? Now, the Yaesu will be very similar to this. And you've got, it just tells you the radio. And that doesn't do anything. Okay, they're different for each. All right. So what this allows you to do is program this. Now, there are two things to do. First, you write the radio, okay? And you write it to the radio. Now, this is very important. You read the entire memory and you upload the entire memory. So if you make just one change, you still have to upload the entire memory. I know people have tried to save this and save only part of it. It doesn't work. You've got the other thing you need to do is save this in some local place. This is the R. We're going to just save this right here. It's config INF. And then you can bring that back up if you lose it in the radio, and then reprogram the radio. Okay, so this is how you do this. Now the next step is, where do you find repeaters? Okay, we're looking at something called the repeater book. It's free, but you do have to create an account. That's easy to do. If you log out, you've got a place to log in, and you can create an account. And so if you want to contribute, they'll take it, but you don't have to. So you log in, and now we're going to look at North American repeaters. Okay. Now we're going to pick Tennessee. Okay. And now we're going to scroll down. Repeaters by the nearest city town. She lives in Dandridge. Okay. So we'll open up Dandridge. And it has a repeater. It's 443.7250. It's in Dandridge, Jefferson County. It's open. Anyone can use it. You don't need permission, okay? So if you have to put in on your Yaesu for some reason the input and output frequency, this is the repeater's output frequency. This is what you hear. This is what will show up on the radio. Okay, and then here is the offset, plus 5 megahertz, so it would be it will send, you will send to it 448.7250. All right, and there's no tone. You don't need to put a tone in. Okay, the administrator for all of Tennessee is KE4OLE. Okay, so that shows you everything that we want. One repeater found there. You can also go for things that are nearby, okay, and see if you can find them there. Okay, so what we did is we took a look at the Yaesu 65R, FT65R on the DX Engineering website. We also looked at the programming software from RT Systems and the programming cable. And those are available for half, again, what you've already paid for the radio. But it's the way that you can program them easily. If you read through the manual, it is possible, after sincere and serious study, to figure out how to program it from the front panel. It can be done, but it's kind of difficult. We talked a little bit about repeater offsets. In this case, it was a 5 megahertz positive offset. The repeater offsets for 2 meters are generally 600 kilohertz, and for 70 centimeters, generally 5 megahertz. We also talked about different kinds of programming software. There's a kind of programming software called Chirp, and it's available from chirp.danplanet.com. It is being updated constantly, so you want to check that out. The FT65 will eventually show up there. Or you can use RT Systems. RT Systems is excellent software, but you do have to pay for it. And you can buy the bundle of the programming cable and the software for, what was it, $59 or something from DX Engineering, and they'll ship that out to you. I prefer Chirp, but Chirp is not currently supporting the FT65 or the FT65R. So I tell everyone, actually, that the easiest way to program up your radio is to do it with software. Now, other people who have lots of programs on their radio, you can read that into your software and then take that software and write it into your radio by moving the plug. There are also cloning cables, which are expensive, and you have to do, again, everything from the front panel, which gets a little bad. Programming your radio by software is much, much, much easier. Now, something to keep in mind, the emergency organizations such as ARES and RACES and Auxiliary Communications and various other county, it's usually done at the county level, where they like to have hams volunteer. You can get involved with one of those, but one of the parts of your training will be to program a frequency in via the front panel. The reason is, in an emergency, if they need additional capacity, they'll set up a portable repeater, and you'll have to program your radio in real time to operate with that repeater. That's great. That's a little more advanced than what we're talking about here. Right now, just get a good variety of repeaters in there. Now, you eventually will want to put up an outdoor antenna, but that's another video entirely. So there you have it. I hope you found something helpful in there, and that, Melinda, you have a lot of fun with ham radio. Welcome to the hobby, and I hope that things go very well for you. And if you've got more questions, write again. So, until we next meet, 73.